All right, ladies and gentlemen, today I've got an absolute banger for you. So, what is the difference between a six-figure online coach and a seven-figure online coach? That's what I'm going to answer in this video with three of the main things that helped me make that transition, that leap from six figures to seven figures. Now, last year in the month of May, I did about 23K. That's it. 2 months later, I did 217K. How did I 10X my company in literally 8 weeks? That's what I'm going to cover in this video right now. So make sure you stick around to the end because all 3 points are absolute bangers. And if you want my help to make this transition and make this leap for yourself too, then book in a call down below. Bring your credit card. My program's not cheap. The price is in the Calendly as well. So you have to be committed. Go watch the main video on my channel if you want to learn more about the process and the program. So let's get cracking. Number one, seven-figure coaches blaze their own trail. They're leaders worth following. They're innovators. They think their own thoughts. They make their own conclusions. And they accumulate a vast amount of knowledge and then apply that specifically to what they're doing right now. And they master their craft. So a big thing I see with all the coaches out there coaching coaches is they are not leaders worth following. They're not blazing their own trail. They're copying everybody else's content. They're copying everybody else's ads. They're copying everybody else's funnels. And then they wonder why they're broke. But it's very simple because you're not being authentic. You're not being genuine. You're not being yourself. You're trying to be somebody else or something else. And that's not going to cut it. The biggest thing that helped me really blow up, and I don't even think I've blown up. I still think I have hardly even scratched the surface, to be honest with you. But it was really just ignoring everybody else. I stopped watching other people's content. I stopped literally just consuming other people's stuff and looking at competitors. I unfollowed everybody. I was like, I'm just going to do what's in alignment with me. I'm going to run my business the way that feels right to me. I'm going to make content that's authentic based on my own experiences and documenting the process rather than trying to pull shit out of my ass out of thin air and try to be somebody that I'm not and try to help people do something I haven't done. So I understand that takes a little bit more time, but excuse me, it's actually backwards because it actually helps speed things up a hell of a lot quicker. And the reason it doesn't work when you copy my ads, you copy my clients' ads or anybody else's ads out there is because the ads are the easy part. Anybody can do that. You can go look at my ads right now and script them out for you. Everybody does that. That's okay. They're not going to work because you don't have everything else dialed in. You're missing this one component of being a thought leader, right? How do you accumulate a vast amount of followers that turn into clients? You have to be a leader worth following. And I'll tell you one thing, your ads, your funnels, all that shit doesn't even matter when you become a leader worth following because people are going to follow you regardless. So you might be asking, Jeremy, well, how do I become a leader worth following? I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you right now before we move on to point number 2. How you become a leader worth following is becoming very competent and mastering your craft. That's it. Be very damn good at what you do. Think your own thoughts, blaze your own trail, and you will come out on top. It's not what you want to hear, I know, but it's what you need to hear. It's what I needed to hear a long time ago. That's why I read a book a week for years, stacking that knowledge, stacking those skills, eating shit for a long time while I was in my parents' basement. After I graduated college with a finance degree, all my friends were getting consulting and accounting and finance jobs, these big companies. I'm sitting there, moved back home in my parents' basement, wondering what the hell I'm doing with my life. And when my parents' friends would come over, they'd be, oh, Jeremy, nice, great to see you. What are you up to these days? I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say, but I knew. I don't have the results right now, but I will. And that's what I'm building right now, brick by brick, day by day. That's all that matters. And it was that foundation that I laid for 3 years before I ever made a single dollar online that got me to where I'm at today. So to become a leader worth following, you have to put in the work. You have to show up, especially when you don't feel like it. And that takes me into point number 2. The difference between 6-figure and 7-figure online coaches is the 7-figure online coaches have unshakable faith, a crystal clear vision, and I've said this before, the willingness to do whatever it takes and do the boring daily inputs for as long as it takes. That's it. Nail those 3 things, you're gonna make a hell of a lot of money. Unshakable faith that you're going to achieve your vision, actual crystal clarity on your vision, on what you want, what you're aiming for, and then detaching yourself from the outcome and being willing to just do whatever it takes and wait as long as it takes to get there. Most people are too impatient these days, and they're just so focused on the end result, and they lose sight completely of the process and the journey. But I've really come to learn that it's all about the journey though. It really is. It's about who you're becoming along the way, day by day. It's about what you do, how you show up, how you conduct yourself, who you're becoming, the skills that you're learning, the skills that you're mastering, the work that you're doing, the programs, the businesses that you're building. That's what it's all about. Because guess what? You're going to get to that point where you achieve your goals. It's going to feel nice for a little bit. That fades. When I got this Rolex, it's on my wrist. That was my goal for my first 100K month. Yeah, it was dope picking it up. Got it. It's nice and shiny. It's a nice, expensive, flashy piece of metal. But it's just a watch. It's literally just an expensive piece of metal. And it doesn't change my life. I was still the same person the day before I got this as the person I was when I got it. And then the person I am now. Same guy, right? Nothing changes. It's just a nice little token, a reward along the way. And if I'm going to be putting in the work and grinding hard and optimizing my life for simplicity and cutting out all distractions from my life to just focus on building this company, I feel like I deserve to reward myself a little bit along the way, especially when I hit specific goals that I set out that were very far-fetched, and you can have a little fun. So don't be afraid to reward yourself a little bit when you hit certain goals and milestones, because this will help you remember. And every time I look at this, it's just all right, Jeremy, you can do whatever the hell you want. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do. And it really just represents me betting on myself and whatnot. So figure out what that is for you. And again, I'm not a watch guy. I didn't even know what this was 12 months ago. Never even heard what the hell it was. So there you go. But nonetheless, unshakable faith, crystal clear vision. And most people don't even know what they want. Most 6-figure coaches are just in survival mode. You're just trying to pay your rent next month, right? And I get it. That's okay. You have to. I did that too. I got really scrappy at the start. But you also got to think a little bit bigger and start to pull yourself out of the business a little bit. Pull yourself out of the trenches, the day-to-day, because it's so easy to get sucked in and you stay trapped, which when you're trapped, you can't think creatively or long-term. So create the space in your schedule, block off certain days or weekends or whatever to do the vision work, to work on the vision, get crystal clear on what you want, why you want it, make sure it's in alignment with your heart. So if it's not, if it's just based on coming from your ego, it's not worth it. It's not going to feel right. When you get it, it's not going to be good. So there you go. Point number 2, done. Point number 3, we view money very differently. I view money very, very differently now than I did a year and a half ago. And it's not really the cliche scarcity versus abundance mindset. I mean, it definitely is, because money is not a scarce resource at all. It can literally grow on trees if you want it to, and if you believe that it can. I can promise you that. But again, you have to have the unshakable faith and self-confidence that you're going to get to that point. And you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And then it will come. One day it will all be worth it. I promise you that. As long as you just don't quit. Right? But nonetheless, the way I see money now is I kind of view cash in the bank as like useless. It's just sitting there. It's not really doing anything. It's just losing value with inflation, right? So yeah, having like a few hundred grand stacked in the bank is like, it's a good feeling. I'll tell you that. But it's also kind of pointless because it's like, again, I'm the same guy now than I was when I had like, I don't know, 30, 50K in the bank. Like nothing really changes after that, to be honest. Well, hitting 100 was dope, not gonna lie, but you get the point. Like now I'm kind of asking myself the questions all the time of like, okay, what can I do with this money? What can I do with these resources instead of just like stacking cash and just making it just sit there? It is great for saving up and buying assets and stuff like that. But also if it's just sitting there, not being used, and your business is not where it could be, and you know that's the case, then you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're sabotaging yourself. So I ask myself the questions all the time. What can I do with this money right now to move me forward? Who can I hire? How can, like, what team members do I need to buy back my time and scale a little bit harder? Can I spend this money on ads? Can I build out a new funnel? Throw 30K at it, see what happens, right? Can I invest in another program? Can I, like, how can I rebuild my product or improve my product? Stuff like that, right? What kind of coaches, mentors can I hire? What kind of Lamborghinis can I buy? Stuff like that. You know, the important things that are high leverage that are going to move the needle forward in the business, right? Especially that last one. That's a big point. That's a main driver for scaling, because without one of those, what are you even doing? But nonetheless, we view money very differently, right? It's not one of those things where it's like, I hoard it, because if you think about it, you really dissect money and you think about it for a minute, and stick with me. Why do we call it currency? Because it's supposed to flow like a current. And when it flows like a current, if you think about it like water is very fluid. It's always changing. It's always moving around, right? And what happens when that current, what happens when there is no current and it's just like a pond? It turns green, right? Algae grows, animal, like the fish die, shit like that. It gets all disgusting. You can't really swim in it. It's not very good, right? Everything dies. But what happens when there's a current? There's an inflow and an outflow, and it's consistent, and it's fluid. It's evergreen. It's always moving. The water stays fresh, stays alive, vibrant. The trees grow, the fucking fish swim around, get bigger, right? Life is good. Money is the exact same. It's no different. And that's why it's called currency, because it has to flow in and out like a current. So if you're not being intentional with the outflow, the output, and you're just stockpiling and hoarding because you're in survival mode, or like your mindset's just very scarce, then guess what? Your pond is going to start going green. Everything's going to die. That's probably why, if you're stuck right now, you're watching this video, I'm calling you out. That's probably why you haven't seen consistent month-over-month growth in your company, because you've been hoarding and stockpiling and literally making your pond go green. So if you fix that, you invest back into the company, like, yes, absolutely pay yourself, right? Like, reward yourself. I 100% agree with that. Like, that's what this was. That's what the Lambo is going to be. Stuff like that, right? Just like little toys along the way to say, all right, Jeremy, keep fucking going, dude. So yeah, but also I've spent way more money right back in the business, right? Dumping right back in ads, hiring team members, hiring coaches, mentors, programs. I think I've got like 3 coaches right now, maybe 4 different areas. The business, one for back end, one for systems, one for myself, like accountability, kind of performance, stuff like that. And one for fitness. So there you go, 4, right? Because they're better in their certain aspects than I am. So I want to learn from them. And that has significantly led to more growth, because when I grow, my company grows. So there you go, right? So if you view money in that way, where it's something that's fluid and it's like, it will come back as long as you do the right things, right? And then make sure it's all in alignment with you and it feels right and everything's good. But you also can't be afraid to be scared a little bit, because that's how you know you're growing, right? It's a growing pain for a reason. That's why it's called that, because it hurts. But nonetheless, I'm going to wrap things up here. Those are the 3 points. Blaze your own trail, think your own thoughts, become a leader worth following instead of just copying everybody else out there. Have unshakable faith, crystal clear vision, and being willing to do whatever the hell it takes for as long as it takes. Get there and then change your view and shift your perspective on how you view money so you can use it as a tool rather than something that grabs your ankle and holds you back, it pulls you down because you're afraid of it. So do those 3 things and you're going to make a hell of a lot of money. So hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making this one because these 3 points have helped me significantly. So that said, if you want my help personally to help scale your company, install the exact same marketing fulfillment systems that I run in my business and scale from 0 to over 200K a month in just 8 months, then book in a call down below. Links in the description to my calendar. You'll be speaking with me directly. I don't have a sales rep or anything like that, right? The program is not cheap, but I'll tell you one thing, it's worth every single dollar. And make sure you bring your credit card on the call. If you have a wife or a husband, tell them about it. Tell them you're going to do this. And please don't waste anyone's time, because if you waste people's time, you flip-flop, you think about things, well, guess what? You're never going to get to 7 figures. I can promise you that. So do yourself a favor, book in that call. See you guys in the next video. Bye.